How you doing? Your boy the Polak here. And I was at the gym tonight. I'm lifting weights. Thinking about this past week. Thinking about, stuff I want to do this weekend. Whatever. And I was thinking about some videos that I recently been viewing on YouTube about the Mossberg 500 and the Remington 870. And some of them, not many, have been comparison videos. Some have just been on the firearm individual themselves. But I want to do a video on both of them. Both I own. And just go over some pros and cons with you. And why I use mine for specific reasons or roles. And why I like him in those specific reasons and roles. So I want to start off with my Mossberg 500. As you see, the weapon is clear. And this here is my go-to gun for home defense. A few reasons why. Reason number one is weight. I believe in a home defense situation, something that you're going to be short on time to defend yourself against an intruder. Weight, or as in ounces and seconds, count. And this gun here is light. It's lighter than the Remington 870, and actually, to be honest with you, it's a lot more maneuverable than, say, like an AR-15 or something like that, especially with the barrel configuration that I have. And it packs a heck of a punch. So I just want to go over a few reasons and a few things on how I outfitted mine. Number one reason why I like this firearm, I think, is its ease of load. Or ease to load. One thing that differs between this firearm and the Remington is that if you look in there, there's nothing hindering you loading the shells, unlike the elevator that the Remington 870 has there. If you notice, that's the elevator. It recedes completely into the top of the receiver. Therefore, you have free range to load. You could go as far as dropping each shell in and just simply pushing it forward. I think in a high adrenaline situation, I think it makes less room for error, especially with no elevator there. I mean, if you drop it in, if you just kind of generally get it close, it's going to be in there and available for you to just push right into the tube and reload. I think that's a big pro, especially when it comes down again to when seconds and ounces count, and there's a lot less, I guess, room for error with that. It's pretty straightforward loading. I mean, like I said, you can go a few inches above if you have to. Just drop it in, push it in. That counts. Number two, affordability. This weapon is extremely affordable. I think I picked this up originally for about $300. It came with a 28-inch barrel and a 24-inch barrel. I've since outfitted it. Took off the wood furniture, put on polymer furniture. Part of that's just for camouflage alone. I added an 18.5-inch barrel. I added a heat shield. I think between the two, I'm cheaper than dirt. I want to say 80 and maybe 125 bucks for the whole barrel outfit. And the polymer buttstock and forend I actually got from a local gun shop, and it was just stuff that the gunsmith had left over from switching over people's firearms. And basically, I think I got the two for maybe 25 bucks or so. 20, 25 bucks, which, it's a really good deal, you know, considering that most of that stuff goes, you know, I think the two of them I priced new is about $75. Something you can look into too is go to the local gun shop if you ever need parts. Talk to the gunsmith. Sometimes they have parts left over. I know that it's worked out for me with the Mossberg, especially it being such a common firearm. Now, another thing I like about this weapon is, and it goes back to the weight, is the receiver is made out of aluminum. And we know these days a lot of things are made out of aluminum. Ford just started the F-150. Detroit's kicking them out, you know, made out of aircraft. Was it aircraft or military grade aluminum now? I mean, it's lessening the truck's weight by 700 pounds, increasing fuel economy. Airplanes, commercial airliners, made out of aluminum. Landing gears on, you know, most, I think, F-18s and, you know, most fighter jets made out of aluminum. Aluminum's, you know, a lot of strength, just as compromisable to steel, and in some ways better than steel. I know that I think aluminum has like a higher temperature, you know, strength. Like, you know, steel becomes more brittle at lower temperatures, whereas aluminum, I think it holds that together. I might be wrong, but hey, I'm no scientist. Another thing I like about this weapon is inside here it's got a dual extractor, and that's inside extractor, I don't know if you can see it, but it's simply held in by a screw. So if that breaks, it's user friendly. You can fix it on your own. Whereas with the Remington, you have to send it back to the company and they have to fix it. It's real user friendly. That breaks, just buy a new one, put it in. Another thing I like about this, and me being left-handed, it has the tang safety. You know, red you're dead, black you're not. If it's on black, you're not shooting anything. Red you're dead. Sorry, it's a little awkward doing it that way, but so me being left-handed, I like that with the universal safety. It's kind of cool, you know. It's not like the Remington where it's on the side. You know, you see it right there. It's right in your, you know, in your sight path. Like, you know, me being left-handed, the fore-end release right here, I mean, that's fine. It's just like the Remington. I think the Remington's is up here. Another thing, and I want to get this across to everybody. You know, a lot of people say that these firearms feel chintzy and cheap. That's total utter nonsense. Mossberg designed this, and you can hear that. They always say, well, that fore-end sounds chintzy, that fore-end sounds cheap. This is designed by Mossberg to have play, and the reason being is these slides, these are tensioned. They're under tension. And they designed that because in the heat of battle, you're just racking this thing. You want that play because you're not going to be perfect coming in a downstroke every time or racking it. You know, they want that play so there's less chance that in your heat of battle, you know, when you're going full bore, you're not going to break it. Also, it leaves a little room for if dirt or mud or anything gets in there. You're not forcing it. It's not a harder, you know, slide. It's still got some, you know, ease to it. So they do that purposefully. And a lot of people, they're always like, oh, it's cheap, chintzy. Shut up. Now, the cons to this weapon, and I'm going to be changing them out actually, is the trigger guard here. And I don't know again if you can see it, but right here on these corners where it kind of comes together, they tend after a while or a lot of use to break. Trigger guard falls out, it renders the weapon virtually useless. Now, myself, I plan on changing these out with the all-metal ones that are in the 590A1, as well as the safety is also plastic, but you can get ones like the 590A1. You can get the safety, you know, metal safety. You can find them like on Midway or cheaper than dirt, but a lot of times as soon as they come out, people just grip them right up. So it's kind of hit or miss. I think the last couple times I went on, they were sold out each time. The last part I kind of want to go over with is with the con of this, and this is why it's not my main hunting weapon. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's whatever, you know, blah, 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 it's BS, is the bluing. And as we know, you know, on the steel parts, but as we know, this is iron, whatever. You can't blue aluminum, ionization or something. I prefer, and you'll see with my Remington, I prefer, and it's the reason why my Remington is my hunting weapon. I prefer my Remington is parkinized, and just for the outdoors, I prefer that myself. I think bluing, I don't know, I don't think it's as weatherproof myself. I mean, most people say it's more weatherproof or whatnot, but I just think bluing, it's just not, for how I am on firearms outdoors, it's just not practical. I mean, I just, that's the way how I feel. A lot of people will be like, you're stupid, but hey, it's how I feel about it. I prefer a parkinized firearm if I would be using it outdoors. I mean, if you think about the military, you know, on the 590A ones, theirs are parkinized for you know, rugged outdoor use. That's what I prefer for rugged outdoor use. I just want to say one last thing about this. I see a lot of people on here, I think they take their home defense shotguns to the extreme. As you see, I like to keep mine as basic. I call it being Judd Clampett about it. I see a lot of people, they'll have like these 6-position stocks with pistol grips and penny rails and lights and lasers and ghost ring sights. Let me explain something to you. If someone's breaking into your home, one, it's a shotgun. It's pretty simple. I use 00 number 9 buck. It's point and shoot. As long as I get close, you know, you got multiple small rounds coming out of that barrel. Chances are you're going to hit something. And I never thought, or I don't see the need for a sight when you're shooting not only at close range, but when you're shooting out like buckshot. I just think that's a waste of time and money. I don't understand. I'll see a lot of guys, you know, with these, you know, 4-end handles and lights and penny rails with all sorts of stuff. Again, it goes back to ounces and seconds. You want to make it your firearm as least of a burden, least as cumbersome as possible. It's why I don't have a strap on mine. You know, that's just another thing I gotta worry about, getting caught on door handles and entertainment centers and bookcases and this and that. It's not gonna get caught on anything. It's just here. You know, it's just, this is what it is, and you know, it maneuvers fine. I just don't see the need for all that. If you're in that situation, are you really gonna be sitting here thinking, hey, I gotta line up this guy in my ghost ring sights and I gotta have my laser on and my light and all that? No, you're gonna pick it up, you're gonna cock it, and you're gonna go. And if you can't handle your intruder at 15 feet, let's say, within 2-3 shots, then you got bigger problems. And I think you need to, instead of investing on ghost ring sights and penny rail trinkets, I think you need to invest in an AR-15, because it sounds like you're gonna have bigger issues. So that's just my take on that. You know, I just think people, they're trying to do too much with their home defense firearms, and you don't want to do too much. You just want to keep it raw, because in the end, half of this thing, once one shot goes off anyway, and if you do connect with them, it's over. So I just think it's a little bit of just overkill. Now, the only things I would change is I myself, I would maybe convert to a side saddle on this. Maybe like, I think there was a side saddle I seen out there. It's like 6 on one side and 2 on the other. That would maybe give me more of a chance to get a different array of rounds on there. Like right now, I'm just running strictly 00 number 9 buck Remington 2 3/4. I think that would give me a chance to maybe add in some Brenneke KO slugs, or maybe even have like a couple rounds of birdshot on it, that, for a situation where maybe that would call for more. But other than that, that's pretty much, my go-to gun for home defense. I actually combine this. I have a Smith & Wesson Model 36 snub nose that I have some Hornady Critical Defense hollow tips that I kind of pair it with, just kind of keep them together, and it works fine, I think, for home defense. Just keep a flashlight with you and you'll be fine. Now I want to move on to my shotgun that I use just strictly for hunting. And as you can see again, weapon is clear. And this is the Remington 870. I really like this firearm. My personal reasoning why it's my hunting firearm is because when I'm in the field, I like weight. Weight in the field for me, I just need it. I need some weight behind my firearm. I got to be able to know that it's there. And that goes back to why kind of this is also my hunting firearm. Goes back to the elevator here. Here's the deal. If you're hunting, and I'll tell you right now, I've loaded up rounds in here and wearing like a pair of Under Armour gloves. Got the glove caught up in there. Again, that's why I don't think that is really, I think, a hinder of why and the reason why this is not my home defense firearm. Once I load those 5 rounds in and I turn that safety off and I go out in the field, the only thing I got to do is slide that forend and fire. And chances are I'm not going to get through those 5 rounds anyway, so I'm not going to be reloading. As you can see, I don't have any extra shell holders on here. They're in my pocket while I'm out in the field. But if by the time that first, second, even third round goes off, if I don't hit that animal, if I don't take down that target I'm going after, it's run off. And I'm not even going to get shot 4 or 5 off that's in here anyway. So, that's kind of the reason why is chances are I'm not going to be reloading as it is. Now, the thing about this firearm that I like about it, like I said, besides the weight, is I think it's a little bit more weatherproof friendly, I guess you would say. I just throw a little gun oil on it. Or even during World War II, the soldiers used to do a trick where they would put bag balm on their guns, and that could really waterproof it well. Now, there's only one thing I want to share with everybody, and I don't know if you can see this, but right here, where the cap is on the end, there's a hole in there. That's for you to attach one end of your strap. Mine's out right now, as you can see, but if you go out in the field and you don't have on a strap, debris can get into that little hole. You can even go as something as minimal as, sticking a little piece of rag in there. I don't suggest it because it could fall back down in. But you can go to like your local hardware store, maybe just get like a little bolt or a brass plug or something, but just watch that when you're out in the field. That's the only drawback kind of to it, is it can get down in your, in your shell tube. I right now only have an 18-inch barrel on this thing, and that's just because I find it easier for, like, if I go small game hunt, like for rabbits. I'm just walking along the edge of a field and just pushing on some brush piles. I don't want a big cumbersome barrel, so I just use the 18-inch barrel, some Winchester Super X birdshot, and that works fine for the for rabbits and little squirrels and small game. I think it works just perfectly well. It's kind of makes it more maneuverable. Also, this forend, I don't know if you can see, it's got that beautiful tiger stripe look. I bought this off the internet. This is actually a police forend. It's called a corncob forend. I redid it with a little Minwax. The forends that Remington gives you, I kind of find them in the field. They kind of, I couldn't get as well, I think, of like a grip on them. They just kind of, when they get wet and just, you know, early in the morning when they're just kind of foggy and misty and everything's just got moisture, I didn't have such a sure grip on it. So I got one of these, and I mean, it grips like no other. This is a really good forehand. I suggest if you get one, look on the internet for those. It's just a corncob forehand. The police use them. In fact, I want to say this came from like the LAPD or something. You know, it was just a batch that they had got from them. You know, again, the trigger guard on these as well as polymer. Like I said, I find their slide action, me being left-handed, you know, I don't like the safety on this. For one, I can't see it. So, like I said, when I go out in the field, I just make sure it's on red is dead, and then it's just rack and go. You know, the forehand release is right here. It's not really a big deal, but, you know, I kind of like it better on how it is on the Mossberg. The last part is, again, with the extractor on these, I don't know if you can see it right there. When those break, you have to send them back to the factory. You can't repair them yourself like on the Mossberg. Those are held in with some like little rivets. Once they're broke, you got to send them back. So you're going to be out your firearm for, you know, however long it takes them to repair it. The last thing I want to say, and that this is kind of the issue I kind of have with Remington, is this barrel here. I bought from cheaperthandirt.com, and it's actually a Mossberg barrel. It's made by Mossberg for the Remington 870. And you will find that there's 4 or 5 companies that do that, especially with the security barrels. And the reason why is I paid $80 for this barrel. You go online and try to buy a Remington barrel in the same length, even if it's got the rifle sights on it, it's almost $200. Most of the barrels I've been seeing, the aftermarket barrels made by different companies, range from 80, as in the case of the Mossberg, up to about 129. I think there was a brand called Carter. I think theirs were like 129. They had like some rifled sights on them. But that's another issue I have with Remington, is it seems like whenever you want to buy something, because they're Remington, it's like buying from Cadillac. You know, genuine Cadillac parts can only be used. Well, you know, Remington, you know, $200 for a barrel, and I think I paid $300 for the gun. So I kind of find that, you know, I think that's kind of a drawback, where it's almost like you're paying to own a Remington. And I know the quality's there and whatnot, but like I said, this barrel's made by Mossberg is $80, or I could have paid $200. But again, you know, this is my firearm for hunting. I like it for the reasons that there's more weight to it. There's more, almost like balance. When I put that long barrel on it, it just feels like a hunting gun. It doesn't feel like a home defense gun. It feels like it should be out in the field. You know, this parkinized finish, this feels to me like this should be tromping around, you know, like the woods of the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. This is the gun I would take up there when I go trout fishing in the UP. This is the gun that's sitting on my picnic table, ready to go if a black bear comes. You know, this is it. And that's the reason why I like the 870. It just feels like it needs to be outdoors. But anyway, that's my video on both firearms. Like I said, I find both excellent. I think they both serve their roles that I have for them extremely well, and that's the reason why they're serving those roles. I think that there's no, like, one's not better than the other. I think for me, like I said, you know, the Mossberg, hands down, that's my go-to gun for home defense. Remington, couldn't ask for a better hunting weapon. In fact, they're the only shotguns, if I ever buy another shotgun again for hunting, it's going to be a Remington. It's not going to be a Brunelli. It's not going to be a Ithaca. It's going to be a Remington, because I think that that's what they're made for. And like I said, neither one is better than the other. I think they both serve the roles that they have. you know, excellent. But anyway, that's my video. Hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, just remember that, you know, it's not what you choose, it's what you choose it for. And again, that's what these firearms to me, I got them in specific roles, and they're my best friends in them roles. All right, well, have a great day, and see you later.